And welcome back, welcome back. Hour number two, game day 502 is going down here live, 21st in Germantown, 1481 South Shelby Street, across the interwebs as well, and all your social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere where you can hear the sounds of my voice. We're coming to you live, getting you ready for Super Bowl. I don't even know what Super Bowl this is, so I'm just going to make it up. Super Bowl XXVIIIV. Let's just go with that. I know there's been a whole lot of Super Bowls, so they like to use their Roman numerals, Larry. But we're getting you ready, counting you down to kickoff. Coming up just about this time tomorrow. I think they kick off at like 6:15. So within an hour, I think we're about 25 hours out from the start of this year's edition of the Super Bowl, where you have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles there in the, I believe it's the University of Phoenix Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona, home of the Arizona Cardinals. Will be the home for this year's Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes has an opportunity to be to kind of etch his name in the history books. Anytime you're talking about multiple winners, okay, when you're talking about multiple Super Bowl champions, that is the pantheon of the legacy that is on the line for Patrick Mahomes. He's basically known as the best in the NFL right now. But when you talk about kind of taking that next step and going from just a good quarterback for right now to being considered one of the greatest of all times, it's when you start to get multiple championships. Okay, understand that Peyton Manning didn't get his second championship until literally the end of his career when he won kind of that walk-off home run championship with the Denver Broncos. Okay, so the fact that Patrick Mahomes can be 27 years old and going for his second Super Bowl in the last 4 years is not short of amazing. I mean, that's Tom Brady stuff. Okay, that's where we're looking at right now. So we'll have to see what happens. Kansas City Chiefs are going to be taking on the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, the former Oklahoma as well as Alabama quarterback, getting the upstart Eagles there. Philadelphia Eagles have been they've been the best. They've been the best team in football all year long. It's amazing that they are that good, just considering that they were a good, not great team last year, especially young. They're a team that has a bevy of draft picks. I remember going out and drafting Josh Sweat, #1 overall, just a couple of years ago. So where we were as a team that's building to this height already is amazing. I was not a big proponent of Jalen Hurts. I did not expect for him to be this good. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to give credit where credit's due. Jalen has been none short of outstanding for the Eagles this year. And like I said, the Eagles have been the best. Yes, does he have a lot of weapons? Absolutely. When you talk about former Heisman winner Devontae Smith out of Alabama, you talk about A.J. Brown who comes over as a free agent wide receiver this offseason from the Tennessee Titans, and what he's been able to bring, the dynamic seasons he's been able to bring to the table. Just outstanding. I mean, there's nothing else that can be said about it, man. I mean, the Eagles have been dominant. Now, do I believe that they're going to win? I don't know about that. Not so fast, sweetheart. That's what Lee Corso always likes to say. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done. There's still a lot to be played out. I've been going back and forth. I'm not going to let you all know who I picked on the show this morning on Game Day 502. Needless to say, I am going back and forth. Like literally every time I hear point, counterpoint, when we talk about this matchup, this has the opportunity to really be one of those great games. I really do. I think that some of the best things that I've ever seen. I think back to the St. Louis Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans. We remember that Super Bowl where the Titans came, I believe, like 2 yards short of getting it in and getting tackled, and Marshall Falk and Company winning that Super Bowl back around, I think it was the 2000 Super Bowl. Those are some of the best games that I've seen. I think that this game has an opportunity to be that. and to be that impactful and to be that entertaining. I just love the matchup. It almost feels like a heavyweight title fight. A lot of times we don't get the best two teams, really does, But like with this, and of course I would be apropos if I did not mention the fact that for the first time in Super Bowl history, you have two African American quarterbacks starting for both teams. Okay, that's never happened before, so of course it's being Black History Month. Gotta bring that up. Like that's like some awesome Black history that they hear live in real time. So that's awesome. Even though I have been a very staunch. I don't want to say hater. I'm not a hater, but I have not been a big proponent of Jalen Hurts. I've always been. I felt like people always tried to compare him to Lamar Jackson. I've always thought Lamar Jackson was the better player, but Jalen Hurts just always had unbelievable amount of talent around him. Okay, so I've never really given Jalen Hurts his due. But you know what? The young man has done nothing but perform, and I have to give it up to him. Even when he lost his job at Alabama, everybody remembers pulling Jalen Hurts, getting him benched at halftime of the national championship game. Tua Tagovailoa getting into that game, winning the championship for Alabama. Everybody remembers Jalen Hurts transferring after the season, moving on to Oklahoma. And what he did in Oklahoma, I don't know, just have the best offense in college football there as well, which was a huge feather in the cap for Jalen Hurts. And he took that momentum straight to the NBA, to the NFL, where he was a first round pick. And I frankly kind of mocked the Eagles for drafting him that high. I thought he was going to be another Tim Tebow. Okay, well, I could not have been more wrong. Like one of the things, Larry, that a lot of people in my industry don't like to do is admit when they're wrong. I'm okay admitting when I'm wrong.
Sometimes it's good to be wrong.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? You got to be humble with yourself, and that was one that I missed. Exactly. Like two people that I always made fun of as far as quarterbacks, guys that I didn't think were ever going to amount to anything. Josh Allen, the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, he's become an amazing quarterback. I thought he was going to be a flash in the pan, be a burnout, never be anything. He's been awesome. And Jalen Hurts. These are two guys that I've been wrong about.
True.
And I have to give credit where credit is due. They've been great.
I'm like, well, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, right? Like, it's like, man, how can I have been so wrong? I feel like I'm right all the time, man. But in this case, I was wrong, and I'm okay admitting it. So, I'm very, very excited to see what happens. I'm not a fan of either team. I will let you know that my son is a big-time Patrick Mahomes fan. He loves Mahomes. He was very, very excited when Mahomes won. So, because I have to live at home and I don't want my son to beat me up, I'm going to probably be cheering for the Chiefs because he would just give me the 1,000-mile death stare. You know what I'm saying? My son's big. He's not a little guy anymore. So, I don't want him trying to put me in headlocks and have to wrestle with him. So I guess I will be pulling for Patrick Mahomes in this game. But that has nothing to do with my pick for today. I'm going to give you my honest assertion on it. I'm going to pick the Eagles. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. I don't know. It is a very, very
I'm kind of leaning towards the Chiefs.
Yeah, I trust the people that have experience. I trust those that have been there before. That's one of the things that, of course, the Eagles. This is the first time the Eagles have really been good in the wild. The Eagles team that won the championship 5 years ago with Nick Foles, like that. Well, everybody who was a part of that is pretty much because they have a different head coach, they have a different quarterback, they have different skill players. Like almost everybody from that team is no longer part of that team.
That Cinderella story is over.
Yeah. So that was an awesome and amazing run that the Eagles made that year. It was definitely out of nowhere, but nobody on this team has anything to do with that. So when you're talking about this current edition of the Philadelphia Eagles, it is a completely new roster. So these guys are going to have to prove it. They've had some thin, lean days, as far as the Eagles. Yeah, absolutely. The last several years they've been picking. Anytime you're talking about having multiple top 5 picks, that means you're one of the worst teams in football. And the Eagles have been that. for the last several years. So, you know, the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles have put themselves in this position and been as dominant as they have been is amazing. Hey, 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 I tell you what, Philly is going to have their shot. They're going to have their shot. We're going to see. We're going to see. But I mean, it is amazing that the Eagles are in this position right now. Man, like, I've not seen very many teams. Like I've seen teams have upstart runs and win championships. We saw Eli Manning and the New York Giants get hot. We saw them actually do it twice, where they got hot at the end of the year, was like the last 7 or 8 games in a row on their way to winning a Super Bowl championship. We saw that the Giants upset the New England Patriots. They knocked off the undefeated Tom Brady led continue those types of books. But for basically nobody, also to literally be the best, most consistent team all year. You've not really seen that happen much. And it's amazing how consistent it is. And that's one of the things I think about thinking is like, I'll just continue to wait for you to kind of the ability of themselves. You know, like, that's the thing. It's like, I just don't, you don't finish good at that quick. Come on, guys, know your role. Absolutely. Like, I've just been waiting for the other shoe to drop, and like, we got to keep winning. They just keep winning. I mean, and that's just a testament, you know, to what they've built so quickly there. It's just shocking how much better they've been. So I think that you have to give the devil their due, and they're just that good. They're the best. They're the best defense in the NFL. They have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. They are explosive. They are great offensively. They have two #1 wide receivers. They have a top end tight end as well. David Hurts knows how to start that great and get that ball to the right playmakers. He always make the right throw. He's not a great runner, but he's dynamic enough to move the chains with his feet when needs be. And they have the best offensive line in football. And those are all the recipe, you know, that all those are parts of the recipe that makes a great football team. It's just, it's crazy that all of those pieces kind of fell together and everybody figured out their role all at the same time. Usually it doesn't happen like that. You know, usually you'll have a defense that kind of steps up and they'll start to get a little bit better, and then maybe they get that piece or that quarterback or that wide receiver that puts them over the top. Kind of like when you know, you had the Donovan McNabb-led Eagles that continued to get to NFC Championship games, but they couldn't get over that hump until they got Terrell Owens. And once they got Terrell Owens, that was the guy that they needed to put them over the top. You know, and that's it. Exactly. Like usually that's the way it goes. You usually don't have a team that goes from kind of like second or third place in their division to all of a sudden they're like, I'm an juggernaut. Like I just don't. I've not seen that much. So for the Eagles, I feel like maybe it's just the fact that, you know, I do have that Jalen Hurts hater factor to where I just keep waiting for him to lose. Like, so I don't know. Larry, I'm trying to not be that kind of thing. Like that's why I feel the way I feel. But hey, I don't know. Like I try to look at it, like why do I just not believe in the Eagles? And I mean, one of the things that we'll say about the Eagles is that they're kind of good here. You know, they didn't have the momentum to play. Daniel Jones and the Giants for the second week in a row. 3 weeks ago. They were able to knock them off the divisional round in a very home game. They kind of, you know, it's because they were an individual team that we saw already twice this year, and they just kind of took care of business. Then they took on a San Francisco 49ers team in the NFC Championship that was started with their third team quarterback in Brock Purdy. Then Brock Purdy gets knocked out the first drive of that game. They ended up going to the fourth string emergency quarterback, and it was never really a contest. So the one thing that gives me pause about how good the Philadelphia Eagles have looked in the playoffs so far this year is just the double fact they haven't really been challenged. They haven't been tested. They really have not had any sort of resistance. So with me, the way I look at it, the Chiefs have had a much more difficult running team. They've beaten the best team so far. To me, the best team in football, at least the hottest team, up until 2 weeks ago. What's Cincinnati Bengals? Cincinnati Bengals have been playing elite football. Like absolutely. I mean, the fact that they went on the road and won at the Buffalo Bills and were able to win in dominant fashion, where basically they took the whole DeMar Hamlin situation, they took all the great feelings around that team, and the Bills were seemed to be the odds-on favorite. The way that the Cincinnati Bengals were able to just go out there and just the Bills at home. They were playing really good football. So the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs were able to go out there with Patrick Mahomes on a bad ankle, suffering through that high ankle sprain, the fact that he was able to go out there and get that win, Patrick Mahomes he's Superman. Yeah. He's Superman. And you know what he said, Larry? He said that that high ankle sprain. Usually, if you have a high ankle sprain, that puts you on the shelf 3 to 6 weeks. Patrick Mahomes came back and played the very next week, and he said he did it without any painkiller. Wow! I feel like that's one of those, what they call it, fishing stories. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Where they talk about the fish was this big. Like, I don't know if I believe that Patrick Mahomes went out there. It was like 2 degrees in Kansas City that night. It was cold as all get out. You're dealing with a bad ankle. If that man went out there and actually played that without any sort of painkillers or have to take a shot or like anything, that's truly one of the greatest. I think he must have had some good smoke. He had some nice smoke brisket. I don't know how you do that. So I don't know. I feel like that's one of those things where he's gonna be like, I walked 40 miles in the snow back and forth to school. I feel like that's one of those stories. That like we're gonna hear that Patrick Mahomes he broke his ankle in 3 places. It's gonna be like the fish story is gonna get bigger and bigger as the years go down the road. But if he can pull this off, he can get this done, playing on that high ankle sprain, you're gonna have kind of that Jordan flu game type of history storytelling behind this one by Patrick Mahomes.
Like you were talking earlier, he ate the entire elephant in one bite.
Yeah, absolutely. Them Eagles. Let me tell you something. I'm excited. I've not been this excited for a Super Bowl in a while. And it's funny because I literally hate both teams. Honestly, I was trained for the 49ers to the Bengals. I want to see 49ers Bengals. I didn't want to see the Eagles and the Chiefs. But here we are. My son's happy. He loves Patrick Mahomes. So, I got to just kind of roll with it. I'm excited for the game. It's going to be a great game. I just happen to hate both teams. Yeah. But I can be honest with it. Yeah. I'm going to be honest about it, man. Keep it real. I'm always going to be honest. Yeah, absolutely. I want to see Joe Burrow with all his swag. You know what I'm saying? He was like the coolest dude in football. And plus, they're still not local. They're right up the road. So, I could have been the Super Bowl game. The Bengals won. I was going to drive up there, man. Even though I'm not really a Bengals fan either. I'm a Raiders fan. What's the Raiders done ever? I picked the Raiders because they were awesome at Techno Ball. Bo Jackson was awesome on the video game. The only reason I became a Raiders fan. And now I've been stuck with it the last 30 years. That's the way I feel. The Raiders are the Baltimore Raiders because, of course, I think of Lamar Jackson. But I don't have any squads. I don't have any dogs in the fight. So hey, we'll see. I can't wait for the game. It's going to be very, very exciting. When we come to 6:15 kickoff tomorrow on CBS. I'm very, very excited for that. And then, of course, all of the commercials. Because, that's another thing. That's the one reason why I've always said, why would we offer to go to the Super Bowl? It's ridiculously expensive, $5,000 a ticket. Something crazy like that. Yeah, and the ticket prices are they're almost Beyonce level. Because Beyonce is coming to Cardinal Stadium. Right now, when it goes, I've heard lower tickets because Beyonce concerts are going for $2,500. I'm not spending $2,500 on the ticket. I refuse. Come on. Like I said, I'm going to need Beyonce to personally sing to me if I'm spending $2,500 on it.
You're going to want a lap dance, aren't you?
You better believe it. You better come pop on my neck and sing directly to me. Right. I want the whole, who's at the Sunday birthday song, Marilyn Monroe. I want the Marilyn Monroe birthday song experience. If I'm paying $2,500, that's what I do. So, you know, I don't think I'm going to get that type of, treatment when I go to the concert. So, absolutely not. Like, I love Beyonce, she's cute, but no.
Oh, and what you were talking about, all the cool commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Props out going out to buddies of mine, went and heisted local lawyers. They got a commercial.
Oh, really?
It's about 7:15 tomorrow.
Nice. So what you said, absolutely. I cannot wait to see it because it's not cheap.
Chauncey and Jeremy.
Absolutely. I say, shout out to Whitney. He said, "Rock you, man." You know what I'm saying? I cannot wait to see that. You know, I always got used to seeing the Hammer and his commercials every year. You know, he always had his. That was always the funny thing. Is like you got those couple of local commercials, and you always knew that the Hammer was going to come with something.
Well, Chauncey and Jeremy had the signs right behind the big ones that are bigger as the best.
Yes.
That there's quality.
There you go. I like it. Absolutely. So I cannot wait. I'm glad you told me that. I'm going to be looking for 7:15 tomorrow. So, like, while I would love to go to the Super Bowl, besides the fact that the tickets are so expensive, is that I feel like I would miss the commercials.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like one of the huge things about the Super Bowl is seeing the commercials, seeing all the new movie previews.
That's right.
Seeing all the crazy ideas that they come up with. You know, some years the commercials are better. I really felt like last year the commercials weren't great. Yeah, they were just like, okay. You know, like I haven't had a good commercial. You know, this one, the Bud Bowl. Remember when the Bud fans used to play football? You know what I'm saying? They had the extra.
Bud Light.
Yeah, the Bud versus Bud Light. The Bud Bowl was awesome, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, or the frogs, that was a Super Bowl commercial. The Budweiser frogs, like those were like the coolest things ever. You know, like I loved all those commercials. So I feel like I would miss that if I went to the Super Bowl live. If I wasn't able to see the commercials, I would literally be thinking that. Like I wonder, like at the football game, do they like put the commercials up on the big screen? You know what I mean? Like, because everybody just listens to commercials and everybody that goes to things, hey, that was such a, that was such a great commercial. You know, like, so, I don't know how to do that, but that's one of those things that definitely are one of the things about the Super Bowl. But, it's going to be, I love matchups. I love both teams. I like the dynamics. I like the drama. Of course, we have the Kelsey brothers. Travis Kelsey, Jason being the center for the Eagles, probably the best center in football. And Travis Kelsey, of course, as a tight end with the Kansas City Chiefs. He is the best tight end in football since Gronkowski had 85,000 injuries and decided to hang it up. I think that's a good dynamic. Of course, you have this being the end spending 15 years as a coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, going to those multiple championships and then finally breaking through and getting to the Super Bowl with Charlotte. And of course, they lost that game in a great Super Bowl. Of course, he did leave the Eagles. Is hired by the Kansas City Chiefs, turns everything around with the grand Patrick Mahomes, and the rest of history. Here we are. So you have kind of Andy Reid coming back home to take on the Eagles. If he can find a way to get that win, I think that he would find that very, very sweet. Because they kind of said that he was done in Philly and he needed to go ahead and just hang it up for a guy who had been so successful. So I know he's going to be playing for a lot. I think that's, again, one of those factors that really play in the Chiefs' favor is that they have maybe the emotional edge because they're playing for their coach. I think that was kind of one of the big things about why the Chiefs won the game 2 weeks ago in the AFC Championship game. Like, honestly, I think the fact that the mayor of Cincinnati was talking so much smack, talking about, they were doing a DNA test to see if Joe Burrow was in fact Patrick Mahomes' daddy. Like that is quality trash talk from the mayor, but I feel like the mayor may have cost the Bengals that opportunity because if you believe that team was not as motivated as they could be, I mean, the fact that Travis Kelsey came out on the podium, on the stand as he's holding the AFC Championship trophy and told the Cincinnati Mayor, hey, Jabroni, know your role and shut your mouth. Like, there was a lot of motivation, that went into that. Like, sometimes you just got to be quiet and just take care of your business. And I think that was one of the things that really backfired against the Bengals is that the Kansas Chiefs came out and was like, oh, so these guys won't talk. So if they're going to talk, then we're going to have to go ahead and shut them on up. So there's so many layers to this. Of course, you have Mahomes playing for history, trying to become one of the select few quarterbacks to have multiple Super Bowl championships. He would probably likely be the second time winning Super Bowl MVP, which is another one of those things that puts him into a rare air with that. You have so many different dynamics coming into this, and then the fact that you have the two best teams in football, both of those teams number one seeds coming into the playoffs this year. The fact that they both made it, this is the best that the AFC and the NFC have to offer. The only thing you can hope is that you don't have a Mahomes injury.
Right.
He's got the bad ankle. He was, like, to his credit, he was able to stay away from any big hits, any blindside hits. They went with much more of a quick passing game setup, which really, really helped them out. And I think that that's one of the things that they're going to have to do is continue with the quick passing game, get the ball out quick, maybe not run as many of the long down the field plays, and just kind of continue to get rid of it, because that Eagles pass rush is monstrous.
It is.
They have a very, very good defensive line. They have 4 players that have at least 11 sacks this year. You're talking about 70 total sacks on the season for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, that pass rush is none short of amazing. So they're going to have to get it out quick. They're going to have to get it to Jerick McKinnon, Pacheco. I've heard that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the former starter for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's been out with injury for about the last, I believe, 7 or 8 weeks. He missed with injury. So the fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they talked about him being active on the roster, he's going to try to give it a go. They're going to have to utilize the running backs in the passing game. They're going to want to get the ball out to Travis Kelce and make him the threat that he always is. But we're going to see kind of that quick passing game, and the hope for the Kansas City Chiefs is that they turn this into a track meet. They want to get up and down. They want quick scores. They want to put the pressure to try to keep Philadelphia from being able to utilize that big offensive line to slow it down, run the ball, and just kind of pound on the Chiefs. So I think from that aspect, it is where 2 starkly different styles of team.
Yeah.
So, you have kind of, it's kind of apropos that the Philadelphia team is kind of like the rough and tumble brawler. They want to get it in. They want to play physical defense. They want to kind of hit you with the body blows. They want to lean behind their running game. They don't want it to turn into, we need Jalen Hurts to throw the ball 40 times. They don't want to do that. They want to be able to control the clock. They want to use that offensive line. They want to slow it down. That's why I think that, truthfully, who gets the ball to start is going to be very important.
You're right.
I know that it's a 4-quarter game, but
if it's the first score,
absolutely,
that's going to really
it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge because I feel like if Philadelphia can get that first score and go up 7-0, I think that will be big time. That will play big time. But if you have Kansas City Chiefs go out there, get an early, quick touchdown, Philly is not a team that wants to play from behind. They've been a team that's classically played from ahead most of the year. They haven't had to do much coming back, and I don't think they necessarily have a team that can make that big comeback. I think that's the big difference between the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Chiefs are a team that's built. They can play from ahead. They can play from behind. It doesn't matter if they get down 10, 14 points early. They can come back. They're kind of built for that. They're built to score. So with that being the case, it's definitely much more important for the Eagles to get off to a quick start so they can maybe dictate the tempo, slow the game down, make it their kind of a ugly brawling fight.
Put some shock
in them. Exactly. Lean on the Chiefs until they break. That's going to be their plan. I keep going back and forth because, like I said, it is a very, very close matchup.
It is.
It is a
It might
matchup.
be one of the closest I remember.
It is like Larry. I'm telling you, like this is a game. Like I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I don't know if the injury bug is going to show up. I still don't know how good the Eagles are because of their reasonably easy course. You know, when I watched the first half of the game last week, when the Eagles took on the 49ers, even though the 49ers didn't have their third string quarterback, you know, and they were using their emergency fourth string guy, it was a 7-point game.
Yeah.
It was a 7-point game with about 2 minutes to go in the first half. And when it's 14-7 at that point, like, I don't think they blew the doors off the 49ers. Now, granted, the second half, it got away from them. Having to play with all those injuries, just kind of, they didn't have enough, you know? But, like, when I see something like that, that kind of buys into my theory that I just don't know how good these guys are.
Right.
You know?
You're right. They have not been totally, truly tested.
Exactly. So, like, I don't know how to take them. Like, this is one of the, I just don't know what it all means. I don't know. And I think that's kind of why I'm excited because I don't have a dog in the fight.
And they arise to the super standard.
It's going to be awesome. Yes. Like if the Eagles can get this done and win it, like there's not very many teams that are wire to wire, the best team in football. They were the last team to lose a regular season game. I believe they started the season like 8-0. So they were like the last undefeated team, and everybody was like, you know, are the Eagles really for real? Is this just kind of like parlor tricks? But they kept that going until the end of the regular season where they started to have some injuries and started to rest some guys. They lost 2 of their last 3 games before they knocked off the Giants in the regular season finale. So, you know, they didn't have the 1-loss record. I believe they were trying to shoot for 15-1, but they ended up being 13-3, which is still, you know, an amazing record. It's still an amazing record. But if they do this, they're going to be one of the first teams to go wire to wire, best team, and win the championship. I mean, even when Tom Brady has won titles, usually, you know, the Patriots would have kind of their lulls during the season. And then they kind of get hot at the right time and ultimately get it done. But usually they weren't just dominant from the start to the finish. That usually just doesn't happen in the NFL. So it would definitely be a testament to the Eagles. It would be a great, great showing for everybody involved. So, you know, I think as we get to this last 10 minutes or so, I'm going to start to break it down. All right. So, you know, we know the contenders. We did a nice little walk up and discussion, you know, about who, you know, how we got here, who these teams are, you know, what they're playing for. So now it's definitely more about what's going to happen on Sunday. Okay. So I get it from both ends. First, for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, to me, for the Chiefs, it's going to be all about, like we talked about, the fast start. You know, you look at Pacheco, the running back that's taken over since Edwards-Helaire has been out, had an excellent game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I really felt that one of the things that people kind of talked about was the fact that the Chiefs' running game had not been great. Okay, they had a very, very impressive running game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I really felt like the fact they were able to run the ball really, really played into the fact they were able to control that game because it was not a high-scoring game, especially with the cold being what it was. You kind of figured that, but I didn't know if the Chiefs would be able to lean on that running game, especially with Mahomes being hurt. I didn't know if they were going to be able to lean on that and get it done. Well, they were. So I think if Isaiah Pacheco can continue to run the ball, if Edwards-Helaire can come back and be a part of this and kind of take some pressure off Mahomes having to just continually pass the ball, putting him in position to take those big hits from that pass rush of the Philadelphia Eagles, that's going to pay huge dividends. So that's the first factor. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs really, really need to find that balance to where Mahomes can go out there and utilize that pass fake, you know, go into the play action game, you know, make that run an actual threat to where now you have linebackers coming up and then maybe you can hit something over the top. So I think it. I also think Travis Kelce is going to be huge in these games. for the Kelsey is a guy who's a he can line up out on the edge. Of course, put him in close, get him in the middle of the field, cause a lot of issues. I think Travis Kelsey has to have a huge game. I don't necessarily think you need one of the wide receivers to have a big game, but whether it's Marcus Scanling, I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's Juju Smith-Schuster, the guy who came over, the receiver that came over from the Pittsburgh Steelers, having a big game. He's not really been a big part of the game plan, but he has a lot of talent. Yeah. Juju has a lot of talent. You just need those guys to make timely plays. Get behind the defense and make a big catch down the field. Be able to find Jerry McKinnon out of the backfield as the receiving running back on a wheel route. Find that matchup where he gets put out on the linebacker, or on the defensive end. They just need to be able to hit early. If they can hit early and get up early, I really think that is going to be a huge plus for the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's going in there. Whoever gets it first.
Yes,
I really one of them ever gets two up.
Oh yeah,
it's over.
Yeah. If they get if the Kansas City Chiefs get up 2 touchdowns, I don't know if the Eagles can come back from that. Of the two teams, I definitely believe that the Kansas City Chiefs have the better opportunity to make kind of that big comeback. I just don't see the Eagles being able to overcome something like that. I think for the Eagles, it's funny to say, but if they win the toss, Larry, I personally think that the Eagles should try to take the ball. I think they should take the ball, get points early, lean on that run game, try to lean on the kids. Absolutely. Get the points, get the lead, and then try to use your defense to kind of control the game. I think for Jalen Hurts, it's going to be about managing the game. He doesn't need to go out there and throw the ball 35 or 40 times. He doesn't need to show off that he can pass the ball. I think that you're going to have to find Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown a couple of times, especially to move the chains on third downs. That's going to be where their biggest advantage is. But I think it's going to be about just playing to your strengths. Don't get caught up. Like a lot of times when teams face off against the Chiefs, they have a tendency to want to outpass them and, out big play.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Like it's kind of like when you come into a fight against Mike Tyson and say you're going to knock out Mike Tyson. Okay, don't
bite your ear off.
Yeah, don't go out there and try to throw blows with the champ. They've got to remember who they are, and even if the Chiefs are able to go out and get an early score, don't make that pressure yourself into getting out of your game plan. Right. Lean on the run, lean on those, Miles Sanders, Gainwell, Jalen Hurts with his ability to run the ball. That's going to be where they want to lean. Do they have great players? Yes. But I don't think they don't want to get out. You don't want to see 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. If they get into those situations too much, I don't know if they'll be able to get it done. I said it on Wake Up 502 this morning when I look at these two teams, clearly the Eagles have the better roster, or at least the better complement of talent. They have a great defense, have a great running game. They have a consistent quarterback. They got playmakers at the wide receiver. While all that is true, I still feel like the Kansas City Chiefs have the best player on offense because Patrick Mahomes is a superstar. Yeah. They have the best player on offense, and I personally feel like Chris Jones, the defensive tackle / defensive end for Kansas City Chiefs, is the best defensive player in the game. So while the Eagles have maybe a better overall defense, I feel like Chris Jones is that one playmaker that can go out there and put a team on his back. I feel like he was instrumental in the Bengals game of single-handedly shutting down Bengals drives. When Joe Burrow needed that first down, Chris Jones would take on a double team, smack 2 people out of the way, and go sack the quarterback. He was a monster. And I think for that reason, I really and truly feel like the Kansas City Chiefs, they have the star power and the star factor. And I believe that Travis Kelce is the single best playmaker in the game. So when I look at it, while I still see the Eagles as the better overall team, I see the three best playmakers for the Chiefs. And that's going to be the crux of the situation. That's why I'm so excited to see how this plays out, because if you can keep Mahomes healthy and keep him upright, I really and truly feel like the Chiefs have the advantage in this game. If it's a fourth quarter game, are you going to bet against Mahomes making a touchdown drive? Like, I feel like the Eagles need to get this game, get ahead, lean on their defense, and make it one where they're just running the ball in the fourth quarter to kind of run the clock out. Because if it's like a tie ball game in the fourth, get my money's on Mahomes to make that game-winning drive, hit Travis Kelce 3 or 4 times, get in the field position, and kick a field goal to win the game. Right. And that ultimately, thinking about it, talking about it here today, I still come to the same conclusion. You all wanted to know who I picked on Wake Up 502 this morning. I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to win the game. I thought it was going to be a hotly contested game. I said I believe that the final score would be Chiefs 27, Eagles 24.
Yeah, see, I can see that happening. Touchdown, and then it's going to take a 3-point.
Yeah,
boom, and that's going to win.
Yeah, and that's where I think we are. And honestly, I think that's going to be the way it goes. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs to get it taken care of, knocking off the Philadelphia Eagles. Patrick Mahomes gets Super Bowl number 2, Super Bowl MVP number 2, and you know what? Even though I can't stand him, the kid is good.
There you go.
The kid is good. He's good, and I can't hate on that. My son loves him, so we'll just roll with that. I'm gonna say the Kansas City Chiefs get it done in Super Bowl, whichever one it is, XXVVIII.
91.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 91.
I feel like they're gonna get it done.
Oh, Super Bowl 99. Look up 99 problems.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl ain't won. Well, hey, I just want to say, man, once again, this is the final game day 502 of the season. I definitely appreciate everything that 21st and Germantown has done for myself, Haven Harrington, Joe Kelly, and everybody associated with Game Day 502 and the Wake Up 502 crew at 96.1 FM WXVW. This has been absolutely outstanding. I definitely look and hope to be back next season as well for a new season of football. It has been so much fun. I really, really appreciate everything that the folks here at 21st and Germantown have done. Make sure you guys come out. Larry Yogi is going down tonight. We're going to have Big Ed taking care of you. He's going to be your KJ for the evening. Comedy show in the back. Show starts at 8. Come out early, get some food. Come in around 7 o'clock, 6:30. So that way you have plenty of time to get some food, watch a little bit of TV. Of course, the local Cardinals will be playing, so that will be here on the big screen as well. If you want to do that to yourself, if you want to punish yourself and watch global basketball, you can come out here, check that out. Cardinals will be taking on the Miami Hurricanes down in the 305. That game starts ACC Network at 7 p.m. So make sure you check that out as well. But for Haven Harrington, this is Rashawn Meyer signing off. Really, really appreciate it. We are out of here on Game Day 502, and we're out. Peace, y'all.